If you had to bet your life on who had more money, a billionaire tech mogul or a 14th century king, where would you put your chips? It seems like a simple math problem, but comparing Elon Musk to Mansa Musa is like comparing a digital ghost to a mountain of solid gold. To understand the scale of Mansa Musa, we have to travel back to 1312. He became the ruler of the Mali Empire, a vast kingdom spanning what is now Mali, Senegal, and Gambia. This wasn't just a patch of desert, it was the world's largest producer of gold. At the time, Mali was responsible for nearly half of the entire Old World's gold supply. Musa didn't just own the gold, he controlled the trade routes that fed the entire Mediterranean economy. When he went on his famous pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324, he didn't travel light. He took 60,000 men with him. That included 12,000 personal slaves, all dressed in silk and Persian brocade. They carried 80 camels, each loaded with 300 pounds of gold dust. As he traveled through Cairo, he was so generous that he gave away so much gold to the poor and to the city itself that he accidentally caused massive hyperinflation. He literally crashed the economy of an entire city just by passing through. It took more than a decade for the value of gold in Cairo to recover. If you adjust that level of wealth for inflation and the sheer percentage of the world's resources he controlled, modern economists frequently estimate his net worth to be around $400 billion. Now, look at the other side of the ledger. Elon Musk, the man who runs Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and X. Depending on the day of the week and the fluctuation of Tesla stock, his net worth swings between $200 and $300 billion. But there is a fundamental difference between these two types of wealth. Elon Musk's wealth is theoretical. It is tied to the valuation of companies. If he tried to cash out all of his stock tomorrow, the market would collapse. He doesn't have $200 billion sitting in a vault. He owns a piece of an ecosystem. He is rich because the world believes in the future value of the technologies he is building. Mansa Musa, however, had liquid, physical wealth. He didn't have a stock ticker, he had mines, he had gold. He could physically trade his assets for almost anything in existence at that time. He was the owner of the means of production, not just a shareholder. So, who was actually richer? If we are talking about pure, unadjusted buying power in their respective eras, Musa sits on a throne of gold that dwarfs the assets of modern tech giants. He could command the lives of millions, conquer neighboring nations, and reshape the geography of trade without meeting a board of directors to approve his budget. But here is where the argument gets tricky. While Mansa Musa had more gold, Elon Musk has more reach. Musk's wealth is built on a global infrastructure that connects 8 billion people. His wealth is a measure of influence over the future of human transportation, energy, and space exploration. If you had all of Mansa Musa's gold today, you would be the richest individual on the planet, but you wouldn't have a satellite network in orbit or a fleet of self-driving cars. You would have a massive pile of metal that people are willing to trade for goods. If you have Elon Musk's net worth, you have a stake in the gears that turn the modern world. There is also the question of stability. The Mali Empire collapsed less than a century after Musa's reign. The trade routes shifted, the gold mines were depleted or captured, and the kingdom fractured into smaller states. His wealth was ephemeral, tied to a specific time and a specific set of resources. Elon Musk's companies are also built on a precarious foundation. They rely on government contracts, consumer sentiment, and constant innovation. If the technology shifts or if the regulators step in, that $200 billion can evaporate faster than a desert spring. So why are we so obsessed with these numbers? We look at them because they represent a dream. The dream that one person can accumulate enough resources to change the course of history. Mansa Musa changed history by putting Mali on the map, literally. He attracted scholars, poets, and architects to Timbuktu, transforming it into a global center of learning. He used his wealth to build mosques and universities that defined a culture for centuries. Elon Musk is trying to change history by moving humanity off planet. His goal is to make life multiplanetary by colonizing Mars. One man used his wealth to solidify an empire on the ground. The other is using his wealth to escape the planet entirely. The verdict? In terms of raw, tangible, undisputed control over physical resources during his own time, Mansa Musa wins. He was a king who could literally give away his wealth and still remain the richest man on earth. Elon Musk is a financier whose wealth is a high-stakes gamble on the future of human innovation. Mansa Musa's wealth was a sunset. It was a beautiful, blinding, massive glow that marked the peak of an era, but it couldn't be sustained. Elon Musk's wealth is a high-voltage wire. It's dangerous, it's fast, and it could either power the next stage of human evolution or snap and leave us in the dark. Ultimately, wealth is just a tool. It is a measurement of what society values at any given moment. In 1324, society valued gold. In 2024, we value data, energy, and connectivity. So, if you could choose, would you rather be the king of a golden age that is destined to fade, or the architect of a technological revolution that might never get off the ground? The answer doesn't really matter, because history has a funny way of stripping the zeros from our bank accounts and leaving us with only the things we actually built. The gold is eventually spent, and the stocks eventually split. What survives is what we leave behind in the minds of the people who come after us. Mansa Musa left behind Timbuktu. What will be left of the age of the billionaire? Is the digital empire any more permanent than the empire of salt and gold? We won't know for another 700 years. Until then, keep watching the numbers, but remember that the richest people in history were the ones who realized that even the largest pile of gold is eventually just dust.